Kaul is a travel management company. We manage business travel for companies like Google, Amazon, etc. And my role there is to lead new product incubation and innovation. And what that simply means is we look for technologies or third-party vendors that have a piece of technology that could add significant value to CWT or our clients. Or if there's a piece of technology that could fundamentally disrupt the travel landscape tomorrow, so we want to be ahead of that. So with that focus area, we identify what could fit within the travel ecosystem and what fits within CWT realm. And we then start running pilots with third-party startups. We can run an incubation cycle. An incubation typically is a 4-stage process. So you define a use case, see how it's going to be implemented, define performance criteria, and then run a simulated exercise and see if the results match the performance criteria. If it does, then we can do one of the following things. We can either license the technology or build our own or have some kind of a commercial agreement with the technology provider or make an investment or an outright purchase. So those are the menu of options that we have at the end of the incubation cycle. If it doesn't scale during the incubation, then we just move on to the next project. It's been a great enhancement to the WTM platform. I understand there was a technology product included in the WTM platform the previous years, but it was not as visible as it is this year. The content was great. You had discrete sessions around different topics. The panel was outstanding. The keynotes were fantastic, and I actually like the one that you started with Travelport. And the audience by and far has been very, very clued in on what's being talked about. The interactions have been fantastic, and generally it's very well laid out function this year. I have to tell you this, people think that travel industry is very slow in adoption of new technologies, and that's actually not true. There is a lot of innovation that's happening in technology in general, and travel has been one of the verticals that has been at the forefront of adoption of these technologies. For example, there is image recognition is huge across all verticals, but travel has been one of the verticals that has actually adopted facial recognition's technology as one of the applications to enhance traveler experience. So Delta Airlines is running a pilot at one of their airports hubs in, I believe, Atlanta, where they're using facial recognition for check-in. So essentially, you don't need to stop by and show your passport. You'll just look into the camera will authenticate if you're there, if you're the legitimate person or not, and then check you in accordingly. Similarly, IoT has a lot of applications in travel. Blockchain has a lot of applications in travel. There are a lot of airlines and hotel groups that are implementing blockchain technology for things as diverse as tokenized identity or loyalty program points sharing and visibility, smart contracts. In addition to that, people talk about AI, and AI is a vast field, as you know. But chatbots, the naturalized language processing technology, that's really taken off. A lot of service providers now are using chatbots to essentially deliver a seamless experience to the traveler, but instead of having humans answer the question, which is essentially, for the most part, a non-revenue generating activity, to having chatbots do that, and instead have humans be involved with more value-creating activities or value-creating tasks for the client as well as the company. So those are some of the technologies that are actually very hot and being implemented in travel space. The number one takeaway for the audience is, and this probably goes for the providers like airlines and hotels in particular, most of these technologies that you talk about, whether it's self-driving cars or augmented reality or predictive analytics, these are not visions of the sci-fi thing that's never going to happen, or you read about in blog posts that imagine a future. These are real, and these exist today. And the only thing that's keeping it from being more widely adopted right now is for people to figure out how to scale it. And it's a matter of time. If you ask me on a time scale, 2 to 5 years, you'll see a lot of these technologies hit the market. So providers need to be ready to be able to implement and absorb these technologies.